Welcome back, everyone, to the Steven and Steven Show. I'm Steven.
I'm also Steven.
And this is the Steven Show, episode 3.
Yeah.
I
feel like
2 episodes in the can here, bro.
A lot of momentum.
I mean,
here.
we have a show at this point. Like, that's all there is to it. It's a show.
Full blown. And we're to the point where we have a routine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Editing, uploading, all that stuff. Seamless.
There is a process. I like that. I think
don't get it twisted.
No. Nobody should get it twisted. I don't understand that phrase. What was the point of saying don't get it twisted? Like, not you, but like in general. Who generated that?
Well, like, it used to be straight, but now it's twisted.
Don't get it straight, get it twisted.
Yeah.
Well, all of that.
Let me get this. Like, you people say, like, let me get this straight.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It would be like, it's twisted. Let me get it. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. The important thing is don't get it straight or twisted. You need to have a healthy balance of both of those things.
Who knows how words are formed?
Michael Scott. Great. How is your Ted Lasso experience going since the last time we talked? Speaking of Michael Scott, how's Ted Lasso?
We pressed through season 1. Charity had not watched any of it. I think I'd watched all but the season 1 finale. Mm-hmm. And we pressed through, finished the entire first season. We're about 4 or 5 episodes into season 2. So we try to plow through on the weekends, but it's not always the easiest thing.
Sure.
To find the time. We currently have a 6-year-old who has a tooth that is just dangling by a thread, and he just refuses to let anyone near his mouth.
Like, he's just like,
they say you're not supposed to bribe your children, but I have full on attempted.
Who is they? They are people who don't have kids. I'm bribing my children for everything I can think of. Don't you think it's a little fascinating, though, that when a kid, I guess, like, try and put yourself in the mind of a kid. Like, they only know what life is like with their teeth, right? Like, they have no concept of, like, their idea of losing something is like, oh no, I lost it, I'm never getting it back. And so for a kid to go through this process of, like, I'm losing a tooth and I can feel it starting to fall out. I mean, it was a traumatic thing for my first whenever he was losing his tooth. So I empathize with them, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's the way we phrase it. We're replacing your teeth. Maybe that's what we should say.
We're replacing it. We're going to get you better ones.
We're giving you new teeth. Yeah. He's lost 3 already. But he had those front 2 teeth, both of them. They were like full on horizontal, like pointing at you when he smiled.
Yes.
And one of them finally came out at school. And that last one, man, like it's down to like one little corner of the tooth, just snarled out right there. And I have attempted every possible incentivization I know to get him to let me pull that tooth. And so far, no dice. So
how did you pull teeth growing up? Did you have a method, or did you have a family member that had a method?
I think we did a few different ways. I know for sure one time we tried the tie a string to the door handle and slam the door thing.
That was the trauma of my life. That's how I did it. That was a fun way to grow up.
I understand the physics of it. I understand the physics of it, but I also feel like, what a way to go.
Yeah, it's a powerful use of force for something that does not require that much force. Like, nature will let your tooth fall out. And we had a whole generation of people that were like, no, tie it to a door and slam the door closed. That's fine.
It's borderline cruel and unusual.
Yeah. We wonder why millennials feel like we're owed something.
Listen, and let's talk about this for a second, because I feel like millennials are the butt of every generational joke.
Yeah.
When first of all,
this is so millennial of us to be complaining about this.
Complaining about being accused of things as millennials, but millennials are not the young generation anymore. There are adults, there are college graduates who are Generation Z. So stop blaming millennials for everything. Also, millennials are screwed up because of their parents.
Yes.
So whose fault is it really? Don't talk about a participation trophy. You were the one that gave me that participation trophy and caused me to come to expect that participation trophy.
Right.
You were the one who named their kids weird stuff like Xander. Okay? Like, it's not on me, you know?
Yeah.
You did this. And I'm thankful that our parents, by the utterance of the Holy Spirit, named us a good, strong biblical name that we can now use for a marketing scheme for a podcast.
Right. I mean, it was profitable and prophetic.
Absolutely.
If we put it that way. I'm speaking that into a little bit of faith here. So we have a couple topics this time. We'll try and follow through. I want to talk about reality television. I feel like we need to talk about like the specifics of that. We're going to talk a little bit about Nicki Minaj, who has set the world on fire the last week because she has questions about vaccines and coronavirus.
How dare she?
How dare she? The nerve. I want to talk about sports. I want to talk about Ben Simmons because apparently Ben Simmons is under contract to play for a basketball team for 4 years. And he's like, I'm not showing up to work. I'm just going to use all my PTO days and call in. And then I'm curious to know like how quarantine changed like the release of movies and TV and like how we stream that. And then we're going to talk a little, we're going to end about like our top 3 movies that we've seen recently. But I want to
Desert Island. Oh, do you want to do recently or all time?
Oh, well, I guess we can let's see where we land whenever we get to that topic.
That works for me.
But I want to talk about reality TV. We were talking about this the other day. I think Survivor was like, well, I was actually doing some research. That's what we're doing now, Stephen, on this podcast. We're doing research. So the first reality television show, you're going to know what the show is. I don't know if you're going to get it right, but do you want to take a stab at what the first real, like, actual, this was the category of reality television, what would that be?
Was it The Real World?
Close, but no. Go further back before The Real World. That would have been my answer. That would have been my guess, by the way. But technically, by the letter of the law, there was one show prior to Real World and Road Rules. And as soon as I say it, you're going to be like, I
don't even know.
Cops.
What? I mean, okay.
Exactly, right? Okay. I mean, but the idea that you're walking around filming police officers.
Yeah, that's reality-ish.
It technically was 1989. But we all come to know reality television, especially these darn millennials, from Real World, which I didn't have. First off, I wasn't allowed to watch it growing up, but I also did not have the concept of a bunch of strangers living in a house together, drinking endlessly, and thinking like, that's what I want to do.
All that alcohol. That's what I want to know.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. That wasn't just an appeal to me. And it was, but I knew what it was. Like I heard it referenced.
And I think Real World, in a lot of ways, set the precedent for a lot of the dating shows, in the sense that they got the idea that just getting all these people in the same house with a lot of booze is going to cause something you'll want to film. So
exactly. It makes good TV.
Right. And you hear people say like, oh, we should have our own reality show. People say that all the time. Mm-hmm. And they mostly say it when something dramatic is happening. So if you just get a bunch of like alpha males all kind of jacked up on stimulants or whatever, like, guess what? Drama's going to happen. You should film it. It's going to be hilarious.
And, and you're going to make lots and lots of money off of it.
Absolutely.
Change the culture of TV.
Especially if they're all attractive people, like there weren't many ugly people on The Real World or Road Rules.
Right.
Just like there's not that many ugly people on,
The Bachelor,
Big Brother or Survivor or, what's interesting though? This is something. So I've loved Survivor since season 2. I remember watching, in high school. So we're 20 years into my Survivor fandom at this point in time.
You still watch it?
Season 41 started last Wednesday.
41.
And I watched it. Now it's interesting, and I want to get your take on this because it's been adjusted. It used to be 39 days. Now they're doing 26 because they're filming in Fiji. And there's a mandatory 14-day quarantine. And so 40 minus 14
of course there
is 26.
Wait a second. We have a show about surviving. We're going to quarantine
And there's a
people.
2-week quarantine. Yes.
Because there's nothing out in the woods that might bite you or poison you.
The amount of people who get medically evacuated on that show is alarming. And yet here we are.
I love wokeness.
And it's like, not only are we going to test you, not only are we going to, go through this entire crazy protocol before you even leave the country. Once you get to Fiji, you have to be quarantined for 14 days.
That is right.
It's better than them all wearing masks on TV, though. I'll say that. And Survivor has a huge crew from all over the world that come in for everything. And it's quite the production. And I still think it's the best reality show on television. I still think Jeff Probst is better at his job than 99.9% of the world. I'm into Survivor. They continue to evolve. They continue to throw new wrinkles and twists into the game. I'm into it, but 26 days feels like a cheap win to me.
Yeah, that seems like a little bit of a cop out. Do you feel like, I don't know, I've always been kind of like a mind over matter guy. I feel like I firmly believe like you can mentally push yourself. You can mentally, how do I say it? Like you can have your mind like take over your body and push past certain limits that you might not.
Yeah, it's like the mom picking up the car off of her child adrenaline.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like that same type of thing. Do you feel like Survivor is a show that if you had that type of mental capacity that the average person who has that type of mental capacity could get through the 26 or 39 days? Or is it a show that requires some type of skill?
No, and I'll tell you, I believe that in 41 or 40 seasons, only 2 people have ever won twice. So you're looking at 38 different winners in 40 seasons. Okay. And it's really a diverse group. But here's the one thing that is unique, and it has nothing to do with physical ability. Right. You've got to have the mental toughness to say, like, this day is only 24 hours long, whether I'm sleeping in my bed or sleeping in the jungle. This day is going to end whether I am eating this rice or eating at McDonald's. Like, you have to have that mindset to be able to get through the physical portion of it. But the thing about it that is just absolutely, to me, the most interesting, the most intriguing, the thing that brings me coming back to every season is the social dynamics.
Yes.
It messes with people because the whole point is to vote other people out. So there's a lot of betrayal. There's a lot of lying. Dalton Ross, who writes for Entertainment Weekly and has been writing about Survivor for 20 years, basically.
Made a living off of it.
Absolutely. I mean, and he has been out on location multiple times, interviewed contestants, has a relationship with production, with the producers, Jeff Probst. He, over quarantine, did this Survivor quarantine questionnaire where he sent this like email basically to all these former players and asked them all these questions. And one of them was about the adjustment coming back to real life after being in Survivor. And some of the things that people said, like, I slept on the floor for the first week that I came back. I ate, like I really, really ate till I was sick at every meal because your mind makes you think this is the last chance I'm going to get to eat for whoever knows how long.
Yep.
And then the paranoia of the relationships around you. Like, is so-and-so talking about me? Are they going to try to vote me out? Wait, they can't do that. This is my life. This is my job. You can't just vote me out. You have to fire me and I have to get fired for doing something that's not good. So the whole idea of the social dynamics of the game is really what keeps me watching, because you put 18, 20 new people on a season and dynamics change because people are different. So to me, that is so interesting. Obviously, some seasons are better than others because, you relate to certain people more than others. Things are more interesting to your life than maybe others. But I'm telling you, I'm in on Survivor until the day they call it quits.
I remember watching the first season of it and I was pretty like blown away. I was like, wow, this is cool. But now seeing what reality TV has evolved to, I don't think I'd ever want to participate in reality television. I mean, social media is about as reality television as the average person can handle. But I will say, I guess you have shows like, I was watching Dancing with the Stars the other day. I guess it's not really like reality television, but I can
it's unscripted. I mean, that's
You're right.
what makes it categorically reality.
I appreciate things where people have talent. I'm always blown away like by reality television where we're basically just watching other people's lives. And it's like, are we sitting here saying like, my life isn't interesting enough, I want to watch somebody else's, which may be true, but we're all drawn
and
to
that's how Keeping Up with the Kardashians was born.
That's literally how it was born. We're all drawn to drama. And the problem is like, so my wife watches all of them. If it's a reality show, she's going to watch it. Shaws of Sunset, The Bachelor, Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelor Pad, Bachelor Nation, The Bachelorette, every other capacity for it. She's going to watch. She's watching
all the Housewives.
All the Housewives, like every one of them. There was one that she watched. It was so I said Shaws of Sunset, but then there was another one that was like something about Mexico. Like they're like a bunch of rich people in Mexico. She's watched some of that. I'm not going to get all of those. There's another Asian one that she's watched, and like Circle of Bling, or I'm getting all of these wrong, and I know that, but
she'll tell you though.
She'll
share the spreadsheet with you.
I'm sure she has an Excel spreadsheet somewhere where she's got like formulas and time slots and all that. But the thing that I've noticed about all these is the ones that last for her are the ones that are dramatic. And it does not matter. Like she has these conversations. She's like, oh, I can't stand Ramona. Oh, I can't stand Sutton. Oh, I can't stand Reza. It doesn't matter who it is.
She has these conversations with you?
They're one-way conversations. These are the conversations where I'm like, oh yeah, babe. Oh yeah, babe. He's the worst. Oh, she is terrible. I know about people's, husbands. I know about their first baby daddy, their third. If it's something where it's like, no, everybody actually gets along great and everybody loves each other and nobody gossips.
No need to keep watching.
That's not a reality show. Nobody cares about it. So we're just drawn to the drama of it. Okay, so outside of Survivor, is there one that you're like, okay, I do watch this. Mine was Bachelor Pad. I don't like this Bachelor in Paradise thing. Bachelor Pad was a little bit more of a train wreck. And that probably goes back to my days of, I loved Flavor of Love. Like that was my show. I loved Flavor of Love.
I can see that. Having seen pictures of you from that era, I could
from that era. I wanted to be Flavor Flav.
A white guy from Aranza's past.
A white guy from Aranza's past. Like, yeah, I want to be Flavor Flav.
The first picture I saw of you, though, you were wearing some like orange Dickies shorts.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was your cry to be Flavor Flav.
I had some questionable wardrobe decisions throughout my.
I think the first time I met you, you were wearing those shorts and Kelly Kapowski t-shirt.
Kelly Kapowski.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do. I just want to apologize to you right now on this podcast. Do you have another reality show?
I did watch the Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise thing. I got off of it during quarantine, and I don't really know why, but
do you feel like you need to go back to it?
I've gone back to. No, I don't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There were some people over here the other night talking about it, and I was like, I had no FOMO whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, thank God that's not a part of my life anymore. Yeah. I still follow Reality Steve on Twitter, but
his name is Steve. He's more than welcome to have him on. He's more than welcome to be a guest on the show.
Man, he's in Dallas, so he and I are driving distance.
Look out!
Could be cool.
If you run into him at a gas station.
Steve Carbone, if you're listening, we want you on the show.
So let's move on here. And I want to talk about, I guess we'll do our political commentary here. I want to talk about Nicki Minaj. Speaking of reality.
So you're going to have to tell me what happened with Nicki Minaj. Right.
She asked questions.
Because for 2 weeks, you've been texting me saying, we got to talk about Nicki Minaj. We didn't do it last week.
Yeah.
And I told you last week, I get my news from you.
Yeah.
So.
Which is never good.
Well, for the sake of this podcast, it'll be hilarious.
For the sake of this podcast, it's a win. So Nicki Minaj.
What happened?
So we'll try and keep this as like G-rated as we can. But basically, Nicki Minaj sent out some tweets. Now you have to remember too, this was right around the time that the Met Gala was there when AOC wore her, tax the rich dress, to a place that's it's like $25,000 a ticket to go to this, and
Classy.
her dress designer took out like thousands and thousands of dollars of PPP loans, and was in debt for this. So it's like this could not have happened at a more perfect time. But Nicki Minaj,
couldn't have happened to a nicer girl.
Could not. One day we can talk about AOC for a long period on this podcast. But basically, Nicki Minaj said something to the effect of like, hey, it's okay to have questions about the vaccine. Like, I have a cousin who has a friend who got the vaccine, and as a side result, he had enlarged
genitalia.
Yeah, we'll put it that way, but in more of like the huevos category rather than the chorizo category. I think I'm navigating through that. So of course, she's like, everybody is fine to say that they have questions about the vaccine, like do your research. And of course, people just came for her, right? They're like, oh my God, this is so ignorant of you, and you need to get vaccinated. And so then she just like doubled down on it. She was like, no, like you can't tell me what to do or what to think. And I'm sitting here going like, Nicki Minaj, like, not like, she's not exactly the beacon of morality on planet Earth here, but I'm like, we're finding some legitimate logic from Nicki, who's
from a girl who did a song called WAP.
Yeah, I mean, actually that wasn't her, but that was
Cardi. You're right.
Cardi
B and somebody else. You know what? I apologize. Right. Nicki. I think hers was the Anaconda song.
Yeah, I think that's right. That sounds like it might be right. I'm trying to pull up the tweet here so I can read it. Oh, here we go. My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His huevos became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married, and the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision and not
just pray on it. Wow.
Now, did she say something that was that wrong? I mean,
medically speaking, there's a lot of questions that I have based on that tweet alone.
There's a lot to unpack in there. I mean, I'm curious to know.
But here's the thing. I gotta say this because I might say it every week, but Twitter is a cesspool.
It's awful.
You gotta know.
I'm there for you guys so that you don't have to be there. It's my ministry.
Don't get on Twitter, but if you do follow us, but you gotta know, like, it's 90% of the people on Twitter are gonna have the same opinion about this.
Yeah,
and that means that you can't be surprised when they come for you.
Yeah.
Is there a better way to use your influence and celebrity to share your concerns than Twitter? For me, I don't know. She has a publicist, I'm sure.
I don't think she's using it.
I'm sure as soon as her publicist saw that tweet, they were like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah,
you know what we should do? I'd like to have my sister on at some point. My sister is a publicist,
That'd be great.
in Hollywood, and I'd like to get her take on stuff like that.
Can we call her Stephanie for the day?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Absolutely.
Anyways, it gets better with Nicki though, because she then, of course,
did she reply to people who came for her?
Oh yes, it just was a whole thing. So eventually Stephen Colbert started making fun of her. Jimmy Fallon started making fun of her, and then now she's like, "Whoa, I was asking questions, and now everybody on the left is coming for me. Like, what's going on?" So naturally, she goes and quote tweets a video of Tucker Carlson, who is defending her on his show.
Go.
And she's like, she puts the little target sign. She's like, spot on what Tucker said. And now everybody's like, no, he's a white supremacist. And he's probably like secret KKK. And no, Chile, like all this stuff. And it's like, okay, so now there's this thing. Well, then it gets better because then the White House gets involved. And they're like, maybe we need Nicki.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, so the White House, she tweeted on September the 15th, the White House has invited me, and I think it's a step, or somebody said to her, the United Nations needs to invite you to speak at the General Assembly immediately. That was somebody's suggestion, is that we get Nicki Minaj involved with the United Nations. And I mean, this is what we've come to, full circle. Like, we're finally, let's let the best of us speak.
People often talk about, the sign of the times, Jesus is coming back soon. And I kind of try to play devil's advocate a little bit. I'm like, listen, bad stuff's been happening for years. The Spanish flu was probably worse than this. And like 80 years ago, a crazy German man put Jews in the oven. Like, it's been bad. It's been bad before. It's been bad for a while.
Yeah.
What's going on? It's just, it's are a more significant sign of the end time, so to speak, than things that have happened outside of our lifetime. But let me tell you something. Nicki Minaj speaking at the United Nations, Jesus take the wheel. I am ready to go.
That could be the most obvious sign of the end.
Riding on a white horse. Behold, these are the days of Elijah. Like, I'm telling you.
Where is David Crowder when you need him? The White House
this
invited her, and she thinks it's a step in the right direction. Yes, I'm going. I'll be dressed in all pink. So the point now is she's trying to have conversations at the table, right? Which that's not what we need.
Enjoy your conversation
we need
There's a reality show, Joe Biden and Nicki Minaj talking about the vaccine its potential risk of impotency.
Yeah, Joe Biden is not even aware of where he is half the time, but that's going to be a fun music video. So she's trying to, like, basically what she's doing is she's like, people have questions and they're right to have questions. And that part she's correct about. Like, I'm not saying that Nicki Minaj needs to fix all of the world's problems.
She's not.
But I really appreciate the fact that this is somebody with prominence who's saying it's okay to question this. And that's been
somebody whose platform traditionally you would think would not ask these kind of questions.
Right. And she went on a couple rants. She's been on a few rants over the last few days. But I thought this was all interesting because she's sitting here going, hey, you have questions about the vaccine. You have questions about masks. And then, of course, we look at the Met Gala and we look at the, what was the other award show? The Emmys. And what do you see? You see all these celebrities that they're all out. They're able to be without a mask. They're able to just be out. Yeah. But who's wearing the masks? The help. All the assistants, all the people who are like part of the production crews, they're the ones that are wearing masks. So it's like the rich and elite get to go out and just wander the streets. They get to go to their award shows. You know, since I've been in here in LA, like, movie productions didn't really stop. And I've heard plenty of stories here in Southern California where restaurants are not allowed to be opened. Like, they closed restaurants, specifically last summer, in summer of 2020.
Yeah.
But they were allowing movie productions to come and rent out like parking spaces or parking lots of the restaurants. And then they would set up like catering events for the movie. So the business can't have like regular customers and patrons come in, but they have exemptions where the movie production team can come in. It's like, what? So I don't buy into this. Like, that's not to diminish the reality of the virus, and it's not to diminish the purpose of the vaccine or the value of the vaccine. I maintain this argument. If you want to get the vaccine, get the vaccine.
Get the vaccine.
If you don't want to get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine.
Get it. Yeah.
That's your choice. And that's the point of what we're trying to do is it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to have your own personal stuff. And you don't owe anybody an explanation for it. You and I are both libertarians. We believe in like personal property rights, personal body rights, personal decisions, and the decisions that you make, you shouldn't have to have as long as you're within the confines of the law, you should not have to explain yourself. Why is it that, you go put a volleyball net up in your front yard? Because it's my front yard and I want to put a volleyball net up there. That's what I get to do. And if I'm within the confines of that, so I don't understand like this logic where it's so wrong to ask questions. All we did for 4 years was talk about how insane and stupid and authoritarian Donald Trump was. Our sitting vice president said she would not take a vaccine from the Trump administration. And then now they wonder why people have questions about a vaccine that came out under the Trump administration.
It's the exact same vaccine.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But now it's like this absolute requirement. And again, no concerns if you have vaccines, no concerns if you don't want the vaccines. That's not up to me. I have a responsibility to take care of myself and my family. And that's...
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, the people who were involved in production, the guy that moves the podium at the Emmys, the guy, that brings on the whatever, that guy's wearing a mask. That guy's probably also vaccinated.
Right.
But we're making a huge deal out of like, oh, get vaccinated, but you still have to wear a mask, except if you're pretty and are nominated for an Emmy, and then you don't have to wear a mask while sitting at this table. Mm-hmm. But tell me, there's just so many flawed logic points in all of it, that makes it asking a question pretty obvious to someone even like Nicki Minaj, who honestly has a lot to lose from asking a bunch of questions.
100%. Like if the Nicki Minaj's of the world, who has endorsement deals and tour dates and contracts, and she's got all kinds of extra revenue streams that are coming in, is sitting here going, wait a second, what? I mean, today they had NBA Media Day, and they have guys like Andrew Wiggins is paid massive amounts of money, is sitting here going, I didn't get vaccinated. I don't have to tell you what I did. And it's a personal decision for me. And he knows like he's risking that. And these people are like, they're badgering him. Like they're wanting.
And isn't it true he's not going to be able to play home games if he doesn't get vaccinated?
I think he put an appeal in and the appeal was denied.
And the city of San Francisco has a mandate. And so he has to be vaccinated to play for the Warriors in O.co or whatever.
Now, granted, he is playing for the Golden State Warriors. Here's this for irony. He plays for the Golden State Warriors, who are in San Francisco. The San Francisco mayor, London Breed, last week was out on a Friday night at a birthday party celebration. They're in a whole it's in like this little, it looks like a dive bar. They have live music going. They're eating, they're dancing. She's blowing out candles on a cake. And they're like, whoa, this is wrong. Like, you can't do this. Like, you have ordinances and mandates where then she's like, I mean, it's not really that serious. Like I felt the spirit move me. And so I wanted to dance. I don't know what the big deal is. And everybody, it's like, you people are literally making laws that you're not following yourself. Yeah. And it's okay. Like the rule that you're making is ridiculous. Yeah. The rule that you're making is unreasonable, because you should be able to go dance if the spirit moves you. But you're making it to where other people can't do these things, and then you're breaking these same rules, a la Andrew Wiggins. And so naturally the Nicki Minaj's of the world are going to ask questions. They're going to be like, hey, what the heck is this, man? Like, you're requiring that I do this. You're pushing this through. You're forcing it through. But then if anybody has red flags or they have questions, like, now it's an indictment on them. And I don't know. I think what makes me sad about this, bro, is how politicized all this has been, because what your opinion is on the vaccine is no longer a referendum on the vaccine.
Oh, you don't get a right to have an opinion.
It's now an indictment of your character. It's now it's a matter of good and evil. It's a matter of you're good or you're bad. And whatever happened to a unified country? Whatever happened to Joe Biden's message that he was going to reunify the country? And whatever happened
listen, I'm never going to like come rail on Joe Biden. At least that was never my intention.
That would be unfair, because he's not coherent. So that would
right. Well, let's tie Twitter back into this for a second. Every single tweet I get from Joe Biden is so condescending.
Yeah.
Like, stop starting sentences with the word folks. Like, buddy. He made a comment, and I tweeted about it recently, because I said, I'm not going to shut up about this anymore. What bothers me is basically what he said was, if elected officials want to get in the way of this, like, he'll remove them. And I was like, you don't have a right under the Constitution, the authority given to the United States president, to remove a legally elected official. But maybe that just demonstrates how he looks at elections and being a guide more than anything else. Because I'm just telling you, I live in Texas, and I wouldn't say that like it's a blood red situation over here. The people I interact with is definitely one way, but Greg Abbott is going to continue to be the governor of Texas.
Right.
And Greg Abbott continuing to stand up for things and say, no, you won't. No, do whatever you want. We won't be adhering to that.
And we have Republicans like Greg Abbott and like DeSantis, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, Rick DeSantis. Yeah.
DeSantis,
Ron
whatever
DeSantis.
his name is.
Yeah. I don't live in Florida, so it doesn't really matter.
They're shutting down mandates. They're not shutting down your right to wear a mask or a right to get a vaccine. No. And that's where I get stuck, is like going, he's not telling people like don't get vaccinated. He's not telling people
he's vaccinated. Greg Abbott's fully vaccinated.
Yes, he's telling people you can't make people get vaccinated. And
right.
These are the same leaders like Nancy Pelosi. She's on video going, well, we can't ever enforce a vaccine mandate. And then Joe Biden's like, if your company has less than 100 people, we're going to require you to have all of them vaccinated, or more than 100 people. But I want to end this discussion because you mentioned something. You brought in Twitter, and this is one of my favorite stats about Twitter. There are estimated to be 37 this is in the second quarter of 2021. So this would cover what is that? April, May
to June.
April, May, June. So this was let's think that monetized. Let's see. Twitter, based in the United States, amounted to 37 million. Now, there's more Twitter users, but those are the ones in the United States. 37 million active Twitter accounts. There's 323 million people in the United States. We're not even talking about a quarter of the population is on Twitter. And it's important to remember that the loudest voices in that room do not speak for the majority of the United States of America. It does not, like Twitter does not represent the view of rural America. It does not represent the view
at all.
It does not represent the view of like it largely represents like majorly populated cities, which always tend to lean a little bit more to the left, and most recently more extreme to the left. And so every time people is like, get your, this is what's happening on Twitter. It's like, do you know how many people don't care about what's happening on Twitter? It's more people than actually do care. So that's always my favorite stat. 327 million, what is it? 328 million people in the United States, and only like 37 million of them are on Twitter in the United States. So there's your perspective. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. I don't want to talk about Nicki Minaj and vaccines anymore.
This is going well, but props to you, Nikki.
Yeah. Oh, man. Ben Simmons. This is a crazy thing about Ben Simmons. I'm going to pull up his contract real fast. Ben,
come to Dallas.
Come to San Antonio, but I think he's going to Minnesota for what it's worth. But I'm curious to know about this for any
who?
of our,
For who?
Oh, bag of peanuts and some picks. I mean, I don't think Minnesota has the thing. We could talk for hours about who's going to get traded, but I want to talk about this thing. So Ben Simmons is currently, what is he? He's 25 years old. And he has already made quite a significant amount of money. But last year he signed a 5-year extension. The first year of that salary was $30.5 million, which that's a nice piece of change. This year he is so he's actually under contract for 4 more years. Okay. This year he stands to make $33 million. Next year, $35 million. In 2023, $37.8 million. And in 2024, 2025, Ben Simmons is going to make $40.3 million. Now, quick synopsis on this. Ben Simmons, not a good shooter. Amazing basketball player. He can pretty much do everything about basketball other than shoot, which, granted, that is an important thing. But for those who might not know the story of this, basically last year in the NBA playoffs, there was a play where Ben Simmons was basically underneath the basket, and all he had to do was dunk the ball, and he didn't do it. He passed it out because he's in his head, and it's a mental thing now, and everybody was talking about it, and he froze. He choked in the big moment. He certainly did. They ended up losing the game for a plethora of reasons, not just because of that particular play, but they lose the game, and then after the game is over, his coach and his teammates threw him under the bus. They were like, well, we really lost the game whenever Ben didn't dunk the ball. Now, they're right in what they said, but they did throw the guy under the bus. Now, granted, this also a little more prehistory on this. They tried trading this guy all last year and were not able to actually trade him. So this is a guy, too, that knew that the team was trying to trade him. Well, now, as the summer has progressed, Ben Simmons says, I don't want to play for you anymore. I'm done. I have no interest in ever playing for the Philadelphia 76ers ever again. And the 76ers are like, ha ha, buddy, Joke's on you. You're under contract for 4 more years. And this is the interesting thing, man, because this is really the first time that an NBA star of Ben Simmons' caliber has ever, players have forced trades before. We've seen Aaron Rodgers. James Harden did it. Aaron Rodgers was kind of doing it a little bit this year with the Green Bay Packers. So it happens in football. James Harden forced his way to Brooklyn. He had 1 year left on his deal. Anthony Davis did it to the Lakers 2 years ago. And he had 2 years on his deal, and everybody was like, whoa, he's got 2 years on his deal. I don't know how he can do that. It makes more sense if you're forcing a trade while you have 1 year left, because the team goes, we don't want to lose this guy for nothing. Right. So you can do that.
Right.
And then of course
there's no comp though.
There's no comp to this
for
superstar 4 years
who just signed the deal.
Right. To now be like, I want out. And even with my team, the Spurs, a couple years ago, Kawhi Leonard wanted out. He had 1 year left on his deal. The Spurs ended up getting like they got 2 good players and a draft pick. This is the best they could have hoped for. But I guess, so the last thing I'll say about Ben's contract is this: he's owed $33 million this year. He got his first $8 million payment on July 1st. He gets his second $8 million payment on October 1st. Training camp starts on the 2nd. So they're going to have paid him half of his salary before training camp ever starts. And then he's got the remaining $16 million that'll be paid out in installments this year. So how do you operate with that? How do you operate if a guy's got, I think they can fine him, but do you kind of look at that and go, like, this ain't worth the headache anymore?
It absolutely isn't, especially when you try to get rid of them already. And this is where, honestly, sports is such an insane business, because as fans, we get attached to these people as human beings.
Right.
And you got to know, guys sitting in the front office of your favorite team don't give a crap about these humans. Right. I mean, they do until it starts affecting wins and losses, which affects their ability to do their job. Fans coming in, job security for executives, ownership making money. It's all about dollars here. And so they may love, at a very, a much smaller scale, I'm a Rangers fan, and we traded Joey Gallo this summer. Joey Gallo, who was supposed to be the face of the franchise, Joey Gallo, who came out saying, I want to be in Texas for my entire career. We were like, yeah, but the Yankees have got like 3 really good prospects that could help us for like 8 to 10 years to come.
Right.
And we're not going to win with you. So what's the point of keeping you?
Yeah.
Did they want to trade the guys they like? No, but
it's a better decision for
business. And absolutely, it's cutthroat. And if I'm the Sixers, I'm there's a point of saying, like, I gotta move on. The headache is too much. He's gonna be sitting at home, playing 2K on Twitch. Like, I gotta move on.
We have to cut.
Who knows what he's gonna say? We got to cut bait. But at the same time, like, that's a 4-year contract.
4 years. And that's the thing, is like him demanding a trade immediately reduces his trade value. Like, now people are going, this guy wants out. He's not going to play for you. Like, I'm not giving up everything under the sun, all my future draft picks and all my good young players to get this guy. And the Sixers are sitting here going, what are you talking about? Like, this is a 2-time first team all defender, and he's a 3-time all-star, and he's under contract for 4 years, and he's only 25. Like, what are you guys talking about? And other teams are like, come on, man. Like, we're gonna give you 50 cents on the dollar for this guy. Like,
right.
And so it's just like this huge stalemate. And the weird part about it is, I was reading that if he does decide that he's going to hold out and not play, like, he has been paid, $16 million out of his 33 so far this year. The weird part is they could fine him, for every day that he doesn't show up. Of course, all of which he can appeal and go to appeals court, with the players union, which would not begin until next summer. So he could technically sit out this whole thing. They can fine him, but they still have to pay him. So now they're going to basically be paying him and then fining him, which the fines are not, I think that the fines are something like $25,000 a day or something like that, which to you and me is a life-changing money. To somebody who's making 33 milli, like, you just kind of
it's
put that under the mattress. So I'm blown away by this whole facet, because there's no like precedent for this, and I don't know what I'm doing if I'm Philly, who is like, we want to get something for this guy.
You got to get value for it. You got to get value for it, because otherwise you have a team that really could have gone to the finals last year.
Right.
You got a team that is right on the cusp of being a championship team. And if you're going to not have your all-star playing point guard, you better have somebody playing point guard that's not going to take away a lot of wins from your team.
From your Joel Embiid,
absolutely
MVP level player. What does this do for player empowerment? And I think that's the weird part that I'm fascinated by.
It's a players' league, man. It's a players' league. And honestly,
these teams have no control over that.
What is LeBron going to say? And that sounds crazy to say, true. But the entire league hinges around what LeBron thinks.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like this with Jordan, man, because Jordan didn't exist in an era where he could just, punch out 280 characters and change the face of basketball.
Right.
Yeah. But LeBron could just say like, oh yeah, I signed with Ben Simmons. Philly did him dirty. And now nobody's going to want to play in Philly.
Nobody will do
Everybody's going to love Ben Simmons. Let him a Laker, because the front office of LA is like, God, we got to keep LeBron happy. If LeBron likes Ben Simmons, like, let's do what we got to do. I mean, the people who have ended up in LA, the people who have ended up on every single LeBron team, how is James Jones like? How did he have a career longer than a cup of coffee? Because he's LeBron's guy.
Yeah,
like, LeBron loves him.
J.R. Smith.
Absolutely. I mean, J.R. Smith should have been in jail multiple times. The amount of money I bet LeBron has spent on like LegalZoom monthly subscriptions at least for J.R. Smith, like, prepaid legal. At a certain point, you gotta be like, hey man, I'm gonna get you this monthly subscription set up, and we'll just go from there. Yeah,
I think it's telling.
It's all about the players, and Ben Simmons does not have the change in his pocket that a guy like LeBron or even Anthony Davis or Luka Doncic might have, but he's a 25-year-old freaking superstar.
Yeah.
And so I will be shocked if he doesn't end up traded to a team where he probably is celebrated and probably plays extremely well. And I just want you to know, Ben, Nico, Mark, J Kidd, make it happen. Tell me that guy playing defense next to Luka doesn't really just get you going a little bit if you're a Dallas fan.
I mean, I guess, but I don't
need him to touch. I don't really need him to. I don't need him to shoot.
All I know is
you see Luka's step back. Come on.
Yeah. All I know is that Greg Popovich said that Ben Simmons is a fine player and he's a lead at his position. And who gives a blank if he can't shoot the ball? So that was
because points matter, Greg.
that was our commentary from our coach.
Isn't that great? He's a fine player. That's such a
he's a fine
remember
player.
When Michael Scott gave Stanley Hudson the Fine Work Award for his Dundee? that's such a like, yeah, good job. I guess it's fine work. Fine work.
Okay, so last little topic here, but I want to talk about quarantine and how we started to consume movies. So when we couldn't all go to the theaters, a lot of movies started to drop on Disney Plus, HBO Max. I saw I mean, I've seen a bunch of movies. One that I saw was Mortal Kombat. I don't know that I ever would have gone to a theater and seen Mortal Kombat. It was a kind of a pretty cool movie, by the way. But it like was released on HBO Max, and there was a few that I watched on HBO Max and on Disney Plus, and I just thought about, like, I don't know if quarantine, like, we already had streaming services, right? So you've already had Netflix, but now it's become such a thing, and we're streaming so much, and now to stream, I don't know, do you feel like society is going to still relish and look for that movie theater vibe? Like, I want to go see it in the big screen. I want to go have my buttered popcorn. Or are you just going to have, a bunch of dads like you and me who are like, actually, I can watch this after my kid goes to bed. I don't have to worry about it.
So I am absolutely going back to the movie theater.
Yeah.
And
I like it too, but it's nice.
I don't know if it opened here. Even I don't know if they were doing this in California, but last Christmas, they were doing this thing where they rented out an entire theater to you for $99.
Oh wow!
And they had like some movies that you could choose from, like It's a Wonderful Life and White Christmas and things like that. And so actually a couple of times we either went with family or I rented it out for some of my my leadership team at the church. And we went and had our Christmas party at the movie theater, and we watched It's a Wonderful Life, and the concessions were deeply discounted, and it was a great time. I mean, I really
Amazing.
I enjoy the movie theater experience.
Yeah, I do too. And there's some good ones here. I don't, you and I found that AMC in Fullerton, like that was like the first one that had like, the full reclining chairs, and like you ordered food and they like brought it to you. And now if you go in there, it's all like touchscreen. So you just like place your order like touchscreen, and then they come and deliver it to you. And it's like full recline. Like I think that you can like lay like completely flat on the chair if you want to. But anywhere you go in a movie theater right now, I think it's starting to open up a little bit more. But it used to be like you'd go in the app and you'd like reserve your tickets, and then they would require that there was like a seat in between you and your next party and stuff. So they were always at like 50% capacity or something like that. And it's just a headache. Like we've been to a few theaters here where we took the kids a couple months back, and they didn't have the concession booth open. They're like, no concessions.
What?
And I'm like, wait a second, you charged me $18 to come see your movie, and then I don't even get the luxury.
$18.
Oh, bro.
How much is a ticket right now?
I think if you went and got like the movie, the big, whatever they shoot now, like in the 4K and the big jumbo screen, and you got the full setup. I mean, it's going to be somewhere like $18 to $20 for the ticket. A matinee right now is like $12. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm talking about matinees, but I mean, there's some that like you can drive out of the way if you want to go to like the cheap movie.
It's an economical decision.
The one thing that I was encouraged though is during quarantine here in Riverside, which is the hidden gem of the Inland Empire. We have 2 drive-in movie theaters, and drive-in movie theaters were making an awesome comeback. We went and saw Sonic. We took the kids to go see Sonic in the truck, and you just, you tune in your FM radio if anybody still has those, and
put some blankets in the bed.
Yeah, man, it was a good time. So that's something I'd like to see come back is drive-in movie theaters. That's the jam.
Yeah, there's a great one here in Fort Worth that has like lawn games, like cornhole and giant Jenga. There's some like outdoor seating and stuff. Great concessions. It's a really cool family kind of experience. Our favorite movie theater, sponsor us, Movie House and Eatery in Keller, is actually one of my favorite restaurants because the food is so good. We go, and because we have a 6-year-old who is got some issues with separation at times. I mean, this morning I was still in bed, but being very still. Charity went to the restroom, and he got up and ran around the house screaming because we thought we left him. It's like, Joel, literally, we're in the same room. Yeah. What do you think happened here? So we try to be gone for short stints when we're leaving him with the babysitter or whatever. So we love going to the movie house because we can get dinner and a movie, and we're 2.5 hours, and we're in, we're out. And I think tickets are like $9. Oh, man. And food is 12 to 15 for an entree. I mean, it's a good, we get out of there for like $50-$60 for tickets, like food.
I just ate
candy,
Dickies.
popcorn.
I just went to Dickie's Barbecue 2 nights ago, and it was $65 for 2 adults and 2 children. It's like, oh, this is Dickies. Okay, last segment here. Officially, I want to talk about movies. So here's the thing. I want your top 3 movies. We'll just go all time for the sake of this argument. But I am going to categorize them.
Okay.
So I want your favorite comedy, your favorite sports movie, and then you get to fill the third genre. So it can be like a romance or an action or whatever. And we're going to rotate. So you're going to give me one, and then.
Oh, man. Well, okay. Do I have to start with the comedy or the sports movie?
No, you can start with whatever you want.
I will start with my favorite all-time movie, which is The Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, solid.
Just an absolute phenomenal movie.
Can you watch it anytime?
I watch it on airplanes. I watch it
Yeah.
when the edited version airs on PBS, TBS, not PBS. That'd be funny. I watch it whenever it's on. I will watch The Shawshank Redemption. It's the kind of movie that if I find out somebody hasn't seen, I'm like, sorry for some adult themes, but please come over and watch this movie with me. It's the kind of movie I get excited about watching
for other people to watch for the first time.
Yeah.
I understand.
So it's my all-time favorite. It's been my all-time favorite since I saw it. It was random. I was like, I think that is my favorite movie of all time, but that might change, and it's never changed. So whenever, and I don't think I was too long after it originally came out that I saw it. So it's been my favorite movie for going on 15, 20 years probably. Okay.
I would say
Maybe
that
longer.
my favorite movie of all time is I would say that it's A Few Good Men. I get stuck on that movie.
Interesting.
Anytime, day or night. I know it's got young Tom Cruise in it, but I'm fascinated by the courtroom stuff that they do in there. I'm fascinated by him and Jack Nicholson. They're like constant back and forth. Of course, you have Demi Moore in this. I even like the military like judge that's in there is good to me. A Few Good Men is one of those things where like I find myself like I'm gonna go to bed, and then you're just like kind of flipping through last channels, and you're like, oh, this is on AMC or A&E, and I know that it's gonna have commercials, and I'm like, all right, I'll still watch
it anyway.
I'm watching it anyways. So
and you're watching, you're like saying the lines like, you can't handle the truth.
Oh man, it just gets me amped, bro. That's my jam. The way that he cross-examines that crooked doctor, that gets me hyped. Okay, A Few Good Men. So those are our favorite all times. So give me your favorite sports movie.
I'm gonna go to comedy first.
Okay, go to comedy.
I need to make a decision about sports movie. And I actually made the decision about comedy just now. And I think I gave myself my own criteria inadvertently. I just, it's like watching somebody open a present.
Yeah.
Gifts is one of my love languages, which means if you want to send me some cash, I'm down.
Right.
I will receive it as love from you.
That's good.
Whoever you are. But I get a real sense of enjoyment about watching somebody watch a movie for the first time that I really, really enjoy. And so kind of how I'm determining what this movie ended up being was recently, I was talking about a movie with some people, and I found out that they hadn't seen it before. And I said, stop whatever you're doing. What are your plans tonight?
Yeah.
I need your next available 2 hours because you're coming over and we are going to watch School of Rock.
That's good. That's good. School of Rock is a great movie, man.
And it aged so well for me. It's wholesome. So it's not like Shawshank where I don't have to apologize for anything in that movie. It's clean, which I generally don't. That's just like an added bonus because I'm not looking for like a clean comedy to be my favorite, but it's everything. And I could recite it from top to bottom. And I brought these people over to my house to watch School of Rock. I bought it on iTunes so I could have it I've got the DVD, but like I wanted it digitally forever. And I don't think I watched a single frame. I was just watching them watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's like watching somebody open it's a gift that I have given them. The Jack Black, Mike White classic, School of Rock.
That's solid. That was the first movie that Destiny and I ever watched. We actually saw it in theaters when I was like 17 and she was 16. So that's a solid one. And one of my favorite lines in that movie is he's like, Lawrence, you play keys? And he's like, no, I only play piano. that's one of my favorite scenes in that movie. So I will go with mine here on my favorite comedy. I have a few just honorable mentions that I want to toss out here.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll throw mine in after that.
Yeah, you could do that. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is actually up there. It's a great movie with John Candy.
Never
and Steve
seen
Martin.
that.
Okay, it's worth your time. Dumb and Dumber is obviously a good slapstick. The Big Lebowski and Anchorman. I'm a huge fan of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's a That's a great movie. And Team America World Police, if you've ever seen it, it's incredibly offensive and incredibly inappropriate. So if you're watching this for pure content, stay away from that. But my favorite movie, like comedy movie, is Talladega Nights. I saw it. And
I've quoted that more in the last couple of weeks than maybe in like the previous 10 years. It's making it come back in my heart.
Yeah, the concept of this being about like the world of NASCAR race drivers is
Do you find
it's
just
unreal.
in general when it comes to comedy, do you find when somebody quotes something like that that's so near to your heart that you instantly like want to be best friends with them?
Yeah, so that's a great question. A lot of times it depends on my opinion of you. If I don't like you and you quote a movie that I love, it's not going to help me like you more.
How dare you quote my favorite
That's
movie?
what it is. It's that attitude. It's like, this is not for you. But
I think in the early stages of a relationship with somebody, it can really make it really fast. If I find out somebody likes The Office, I'm immediately more open to them as a person.
Oh, we're gonna.
You might have some, because it's about taste. It's like, oh, your taste doesn't suck. Somebody the other day said something like, "Don't you put that evil on me?" And I was like,
that's it. That's it. I know that. I know that.
We're friends.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's the thing. I mean, the kids come out of the shower, and I'm always like, they come out and they're not wearing clothes, and I'm like, Tom Cruise, you sure witchcraft to put the fire out. So yeah, that's a good one. Talladega Nights is, and as long as I haven't made a decision to dislike somebody, I'll probably strengthen my relationship if they like that movie. Okay.
Here's my offensive honorable mention for comedy. It's Borat.
Yeah, Woo!
It is extremely offensive.
Yeah.
To just about everybody.
Yeah.
But my gosh,
you can be. If you don't have a good sense of humor, you can't watch.
Tears out of my eyes every single time.
It was bad. I think he got sued.
And what's even funnier to me, is when people like, it's become such a cultural mainstay that people quote it in other movies or TV shows.
That's
like Michael Scott, like my wife. Like it's just, it gets me every time. And then when people don't know what it's from, I'm like, it's from Borat. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
And don't judge me for having watched it. I was young. I was young. Foolish.
I haven't seen it in years. Yeah.
Oh man. There's a sequel, right?
Yeah, I know. There is. I did not see the sequel, and I don't think I've seen too many other Sacha Baron Cohen movies. Although he is in Talladega Nights.
Okay.
Go figure.
Okay. But okay, hold on. I gotta just go off on Sacha Baron Cohen for a second.
Okay.
What? Maybe like 13 years ago, I was on a missions trip, and the Ali G show was like, we would watch these YouTube clips of the Ali G show, and the one where he like is talking to religious leaders, and he tries to get the atheist and the priest to marry each other as a sign of unity. And then he asks, this atheist is like this old ugly woman, and the priest is like, no, and Ali G's like, what if she were a bit fitter? Wouldn't you want to marry her then?
Again, if you're easily offended, this podcast is not for you, because we're going to recommend that.
What if she were a bit fitter? What you want to marry her then? I say that all the time.
What if she were
all
a bit
the
fitter?
time? It gets to me.
Okay, last one. Give me your sports
movies.
Sports.
I'll tell you what it's not. It's not the new Space Jam.
Oh, that was awful.
You'll appreciate this. So you know about Roblox because your kids play with the Roblox app. I the other day I woke up. Joel wakes up and he runs. For whatever reason, he thinks it's a great reason to come to mom and dad's bed and play Roblox next to dad while he sleeps.
Yeah.
And so I woke up. Apparently, Joel, who has now seen the new Space Jam movie, has found a game on Roblox about.
Yes, there's a game that circulates. It's like a mirror something in Space Jam.
Well, I woke up to Joel saying, "LeBron, it's me. Don't hit me with that Sprite cranberry." And I was like, am I dreaming? What is happening right now? And then I thought, I like Sprite Cranberry. When is that coming back? Is that seasonal?
It's not coming back with Crystal Pepsi? Good.
I'm into it. Apparently, it's a seasonal thing. So, Sprite Cranberry sponsor us.
So, Space Jam 2 is your answer?
That's what it's not. That is one of the worst sports movies I've ever seen. It's definitely gonna be a baseball movie, and I'm kind of like, I'm between Little Big League, which is one of my
that's a great
movie. Absolute favorites.
Yeah.
And I also really, really like Angels in the Outfield. I reference Angel in the Outfield all the time. Whenever somebody's like,
can you? Wait, his name is Jose? It's about a Spanish guy.
Whenever somebody's like going through something, like, I don't know how I do that. I get up and I just like do this. I'm like, you got Angel with you right now. That's going to help. Like in my best Danny Glover voice.
There's so many good people.
The best thing about Little Big League was that I watched it when I was the age where I thought I would be a better manager than Johnny Oates of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Johnny Oates.
That thought they could have that.
A lot of children that identified with that. And one of my favorite scenes is when the kid becomes the manager and he's talking to the players. The players are obviously incredulous that a child is now going to lead them. And one guy says, man, I don't know. I play winter ball down in Venezuela. They got kids half his age speaking Spanish. The other guy says they speak Spanish in Venezuela. He's like, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's a hard language.
It's a hard language. I think that's their natural tongue.
I'm sure there are better movies, like, I don't know, like,
but that's near
Hoosiers or something like that. But
don't take my movie.
I didn't say best movies. I just said
your favorite.
This is favorite movies. So
now that you let the cat
out.
Right. Now that you let the cat out of the bag, my favorite is Hoosiers, and I'd say it's Hoosiers, and it's a little nostalgic. My dad showed that movie to me and the couple guys on our basketball team back in high school, and we would watch it before every playoff game. And I think we started doing that like in 6th grade or something like that. Anytime there was like an important game that was coming down, we all like watched Hoosiers the night before. To get amped. And so I hadn't watched it for, I don't know, maybe it had been like 5 or 10 years, like after I got out of college and I stopped playing basketball as much. I hadn't watched it. And then I went back and watched it again. And I'm like, this is arguably the worst basketball movie that was ever made.
It's
like,
so unrealistic.
It's so unrealistic. There's so many continuity errors. There's things in it that are like, how did this guy miss the shot? Like he's acting like he missed the shot. You could tell like so many cut sequences that they shoot the ball and you're like, there's no way that's going in. And then it's like swish, it goes in. It's like, okay, that was clearly like edited.
Oh, there is a basketball movie. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I think Nick Nolte was in it, maybe as the coach.
Blue Chips.
Blue Chips, yes. And Shaq and Penny Hardaway are in it.
Yeah.
Always enjoyed that one.
It's a
Probably haven't
movie.
seen it in 20 years. I'm going to go watch it tonight.
It's a great movie. I just watched it on, I think it was on FX not too long ago. And they're basically a bunch of,
probably on Hulu then.
Yeah, they're a bunch of college kids that have been like paid under the table. And eventually it just gets too much, and the coach like has like a breakdown and like confesses to everything and all the booster club members. And it's a great like storyline about college basketball. Is really strong foreshadowing into the
seriously
NCAA world.
Let me say this. It's not I don't this is my honorable mention, but I didn't mention it because there's a caveat.
Okay.
Friday Night Lights is the best television show with sports as a central theme in the history of entertainment. The movie is just okay.
I would say
the movie's
exact opposite.
The movie's based on a true story, so I get it. There's our friend Derek Luke is in it.
Our good pal,
Booby Miles, our good buddy Derek Luke.
Hey, Derek, if you're listening.
Derek Stephen Luke, come on the podcast, buddy. He's not listening, but the show is just so good to me.
I'm the opposite.
Can you not relate to that, like life though, growing up?
I mean, I can relate to the life. I understand what it's like for a small town to shut down because the football game is.
I mean, like,
tonight.
I knew that guy. I dated that girl.
Yeah.
I went to that Applebee's. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, maybe it just hits me. Like, in season 2 was garbage, but it really, it gets me in Friday Night Lights is my jam. And it's another one. Like, if somebody says, "Oh, I've never watched that," I'm like, change your lifestyle and make it a priority. So
that's fair. We've covered a lot of topics today, and we're about out of time, Steven.
Yeah.
But this has been enjoyable.
You know what I want to cover next week?
Yeah, tell me.
We talked a lot about entertainment. I have really gone down some trails with both some documentaries, some other podcasts, but also some books. I've started reading again. We have a new routine. We go to Half Price Books twice a month and let Joel, if Joel does well at school, that's one of his rewards. But I found this little gem. Who really killed Kennedy?
Wow.
50 years later. I don't want to talk about who I really think killed Kennedy, although that might sneak in. But just the sheer insanity surrounding something like this is fascinating to me. I'm going to tweet at Ken Paxton, Attorney General of the state of Texas today, and say, can we not open up a grand jury investigation into this? This happened in your state, Ken. I know there's a lot going on, but I got to know. Apparently, there's some stuff that's sealed to like 2039.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh my God, that's 17 years from now. That's in my lifetime.
I hope
I'll be in my 50s, but still
going.
It will be. It will be sponsored by that point by, I don't know, anybody and everybody.
We're also going to talk about WoW music, except the Christian version, Now music.
No, it's WoW is the Christian version.
Oh, WoW is? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
WoW. Yeah, we're going to talk about WoW.
I had so many WoW CDs. All right, we can't get into this now.
That's good. Thanks for jumping on, man. Thanks for everybody for listening.
Shalom.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Send us an email at the Steven and Steven Show. Follow us on Twitter, The Two Stevens, and on Instagram, The Two Stevens. And then you can follow Steven, Shelton, and myself on Twitter as well. Thanks for listening, everyone. Cheers.